Your eyes open, surrounded by gas. Well, actually, you are the gas, and all of a sudden you feel an immense amount of pressure like a hippo sitting in a folding chair. Oh, don't worry, that's just gravity. And it's starting to pull you in. Congratulations. You're a useless ball of gas, but it doesn't stop there. Your new powers allow you to suck in even more gas from around you. Hold on, you're heating up to just the right temperature. And now you're a star located in the Orion arm of the Milky Way and called the Sun, which is not a name you wanted, but it's the one you got. Thanks, humans. Now don't worry. You're only a little unstable at this young age as you need to figure out how to continue to exist in the first place. How do you do that? Simple. By using fusion to give yourself energy. This is done by squishing two tiny hydrogen atoms together, which release that energy, allowing you to live for a really, really long time. You emit flares and radiation like a beautiful light show, which is pretty neat, but you also get acne in the form of sunspots every 11 years. That's less neat. These are darker and way cooler spots of your surface, and they really serve no purpose, much like acne. Except in your case, it won't go away forever. You've just started your journey around the Milky Way, but here's the thing about galactic trips. They take a while, and by a while we mean about 230 million years. No, that's not a typo, and yes, in terms of your lifespan, that's around 48 yearly trips. But wait, it gets better. Well, or worse, depending on how you look at it. You're not even on a nice smooth road for this trip around the galaxy. No. It's all twisty and curvy. See, you're not just going around the galaxy, you're also bouncing. It's a road made of trampolines. Invisible trampolines. Along your first trip around, you see some star called Vega. You think maybe about heading over and, who knows, striking up a conversation. It does look like a straight line would take you about 25 light years to get there. But here's the thing, it only looks like a straight line. In reality, it's a zigzagged road stuck in an infinite maze. Now you might be thinking, well, surely there's someone around for company while I go on this journey, right? Wrong. You'll have to make this journey to Vega by yourself. At least there's a bunch of rubble and dust lying around you, but they aren't exactly wingmen because they're dead. Or unalive if you prefer to view it that way. While you start on that journey to Vega, fun fact, you've already been alive a couple million years, but suddenly you notice these weird-looking balls around you that you can't get rid of. It looks like your leftover gas from when you were born suddenly forms the planets. Interesting. Don't think cows can do that. But wait, look. There's one large planet in the distance. My name is Jupiter. I'm going to be huge, he declares. Biggest in the solar system. You try to move away from him, but you're stuck in a gravitational leash, kind of like being handcuffed to the most annoying person you can think of forever. You also notice all of his moons. There's like 90 of them, so pretty hard not to. Jupiter is that guy who adopts every stray dog he sees. Meanwhile, another planet shows up behind Jupiter and calls itself Saturn, and brags about his rings. Fancy jewelry just made of the dust and rocks that are unalive. Not only that, him and Jupiter spinning very, very quickly, and it's making everybody else around them dizzy. Whoa, your watch tells you it's been almost 500 million years? You've gone around the galaxy 2 times? You look around, it's chaos, absolute chaos. The gas and dust from your old dramatic birth has merged into even more planets made of rocks, and asteroids are flying everywhere. It's like someone threw glitter into a fan. You notice that Jupiter and Saturn are joined by 2 other gas giants now. They're weird cousins who show up late to everything. Uranus sits on a side, which is already weird, and then you have Neptune being, well, unremarkable. Just 2 blue planets existing. Yep, to create some order to this nonsense, you're setting boundaries. You use the asteroid to make a nice barrier between you and the gas planets. Now they can be far enough away from you to stay existing without evaporating, and you can maybe get some peace and quiet. Wait, what touched you? Oh, that's Mercury, Jupiter yells. Personal space isn't something he understands. Well, all you can do is try your best to ignore him. And actually, you notice a planet in the lineup that you haven't seen before. She looks a little bit more interesting. Never mind. She turns out to be a complete diva, and spins the wrong way compared to everybody else. Yeah, that's Venus. And despite being a diva, she's literally very hot. At least you also have Earth and Mars next to you, though one is an absolute hellscape made of literally just fire and agony with a weird moon orbiting it, and the other just looks like a smaller Earth. However, you can't get distracted by them. You have to figure out how to get to Vega. But there's one more distraction that forces you to look down again. Jupiter sneezes, and some of the asteroids from the belt fly inwards, and also some comets. Some of those are just going to fly and smash into Earth and Mars, and it turns out this will allow them both to have water and life apparently. But unlike Earth, Mars decides to die after 700 million years and just looks like a dried out raisin. Unlucky. You continue your journey, and at this point, you're just over 1 billion years old now, fusing hydrogen as fast as building 4,000 pyramids a second. Pharaohs wish they had your systems. You've also got to provide light for everyone around you and get nothing in return for it. Well, guess this is your life now. You go to work, come home, listen to the noise, pay for the electricity, hope the rates don't go up, and every now and then, you get to look into space beyond the solar system and dream of a better life. But hey, at least you're still moving to Vega. Well, slowly, at an angle and on a trampoline, but still moving. Now that the planets are a little bit older and more stable, you don't have to look after them as much. You're able to notice the other stars around you. Some are bigger, some are smaller, but they all seem to be living their best lives. Just when you thought your trip around the galaxy couldn't get any worse. Ever heard of stellar FOMO, by the way? Because after another 9 trips of your boring routine around the galaxy, or 2 billion years, you suddenly notice something. Is that a super red giant gigastar? That thing is living large, quite literally. It's expanding its size hundreds and thousands of times like a pufferfish on steroids. He doesn't live that long, though. He'll be dead in 10 million years, and for you that's a nap. But oh boy, does he really know how to have a good time. And here you are. Same old size, same old temperature, roughly, just plodding along. You are distinctly average. Only red dwarfs are smaller than you, but everybody loves them because they're like permanent firecrackers and too much caffeine. And the other ones are brown dwarfs, and they basically just failed the first grade. And don't even get started on those binary stars. They're always hanging out together, orbiting each other like some kind of tick YouTube short stands. They've got a built-in buddy system while you're forever alone with your clingy planets. Then, there are those hot young blue stars. They're the party animals of the galaxy, burning bright and fast without a care in the world. They live hard, die young, and leave a beautiful nebula when they die. Meanwhile, you're the designated driver stuck in a 10 billion year ship. You try to tell yourself that slow and steady wins the race, but are you even living? While you were having an identity crisis, in the meantime, Earth had a little mass extinction and turned itself into a ball of ice and snow. You look at Vega wondering if you've gotten any closer. You have a tiny bit. So you start to use signs to communicate because otherwise, you'd never speak to her. You do this for 900 million years. Now that's a long-distance relationship. But you know what? You deserve happiness, greatness. It's time to become who you should be. Bigger, stronger. You start visualizing your future. Not just any future, mind you, but a future where you're the biggest and baddest star in the galaxy. You're thinking of expansion, and we're not talking about a little Thanksgiving bloat here. So you start the process, and during this time, Earth has grown some dinosaurs. Amazing. But if you've ever watched Why It Would Suck to Be Born as a T-Rex on YouTube, you would know what happens next. Well, no more dinosaurs. Then, Earth suddenly launches a satellite. Great. Humans. Now you're officially the sun, by the way. What's on Earth? Now they're shooting out rockets? They're going everywhere like giant mosquitoes, and all the planets are swatting at them trying to, and now they're touching the planets. While this is going on, you're stuck watching those weird little creatures on the Earth live. Have fun. Just like all the other stars. And for some reason, they think it's fun to look at you and go blind. Yeah, those guys made rockets. During your transformation that has just begun, most of the other stars you've seen have all died since you have gone around the galaxy about 20 times at this point. And you finally notice that you're getting brighter and a little hotter. Earth starts to sweat a little bit, but you don't care because those humans are annoying. And when you finally hit that red giant phase, you're going to put on a show that'll make supernovas look like sparklers. You'll expand to hundreds of times your current size, swallowing up the planets like popcorn. Your moment is ruined as you hear all the planets crying. You ask if they could for once be quiet in their miserable lives. No, you just drilled Mercury. They yell. Oh, anyway, did anyone actually care about him? Oh, you also noticed that Vega died. Yeah, she only lived for 1 billion years, so your journey was completely useless in the first place, but you're too cool for her now anyway. You're 6,000 years old, and you've had 24 galactic rotations. Meanwhile, your planets are having a really rough time with your temperature increase. Mercury and Venus, toasted. Earth, well, before you were yellow and nice and pleasant. Then you got hotter and brighter and evaporated its oceans and water, leaving it to be a dry sandpit. Then, as you puffed up your brightness even more, well, let's just say that humans might want to invest in some military-grade sunscreen without. It ditched Earth and left in a spaceship. Good for them, as all the other planets literally melt and or have their skin stripped until their skeleton remains. Sorry, Jupiter. You realize that the universe has a way of not caring about what you want. Turns out all of your motivation, visualization, and focus was literally useless. You're just not quite massive enough for the supernova club. You cannot go boom, and you aren't really even expanding much. All this heating up has been for show, not for size, and for nothing. As the next 4 billion years roll by, you cook through all of your hydrogen, you burn some helium, and you begin to finally actually expand. But, you were in solitude the entire time. See, if you were born larger, it would have only taken a millionth of the time. But at least you're finally turning into a red giant. Not a super red giant, just a regular one. You're 250 times bigger than you used to be, yeah, but not in the way you hoped. Your outer layers puff up like a giant balloon while your core gets denser and hotter. So you're bigger, but you're not stronger, and you don't look so good. Here's how it really goes down. All by yourself, you keep expanding for yet another billion years until you've expanded so much you can't even hold yourself anymore. Your outer layers drift off into space, forming a pretty cloud that humans will all winnow over from their spaceship. The goats will like it as well. And as they move to their new star system with new planets, they'll have a red dwarf to light them up for 1 trillion years. But you, the sun, you'll be surrounded by your own molten skin left behind as a white dwarf. Hot, dense, and about the size of Earth. Ironic. Not exactly the life you have planned out for yourself, is it? Well, at least you don't have to fuse anything anymore, and there's no planet that you have to give life for away for free. But at what cost? You'll stay like this for trillions of years, losing your remaining heat until you become a black dwarf, and you're just a pile of rotten gas that no one can see. The absolute worst fate. Wait, what the f***?